Don't you think that going through this process, we've learned a lot about each other?
Yeah, definitely. It's actually been quite informative, I guess. Learning, well, first, other than buying a house, they say having a baby, or I suppose you could also say trying for a baby is probably one of the most stressful things that you can do.
Yeah, but it's not meant to be stressful.
Yeah, but it is.
Yeah, it's stressful for us.
Yeah. And the fact that we've managed to, go through it together with very few arguments. Some, but very few.
Yeah.
I think says a lot about the strength of our relationship.
Mm.
Oh my God.
We went for a second round of IVF in March. I went to a clinic and I said to them, what can we do differently this time? We put a whole plan together, and unfortunately the clinic didn't follow through what they offered me. They did exactly the same thing as last time, but I didn't fall pregnant. And I don't know if that was a mental thing. I don't know if my body wasn't right. I don't know if it was because it just wasn't correct at the right time, but it didn't work. And that particular time I went downhill. I went through a really bad depression. And at the time I didn't even realise it. And in the end I did reach out to a counsellor. I went to go and see someone. And then I started investigating, Ian and I decided that we were going to go for round 3. And we got to the point where we decided that we were going to go and look at a clinic abroad, because I really wasn't happy the way that it was dealt with, that they didn't follow through what I wanted to do at this particular clinic, and I was really, really disappointed. And actually I just felt like I was a number at this clinic, and yeah, it just didn't work. And so we did investigating. We found an amazing clinic, and this is where the magic has, in my eyes, has happened. This is where I have found someone that actually cares about me as an individual. So I actually ended up having a 3D Doppler scan, which I found very hard to find anywhere in the UK to do one. So we went over to Spain, and they discovered that I've got endometriosis. So this is something that I didn't actually at this point know about. I didn't understand it. And again, it was something the clinic in the UK hadn't picked up on. So I felt very, very frustrated, quite angry, because you end up spending quite a lot of money on these, on the IVF. And it was a little bit soul destroying, but you have to move forward. So when I went for the scan, they also found that I had fluid in my fallopian tubes. So they turned around to me, and the clinic said to me, right, go home, have your fallopian tubes taken out, or one, entirely up to you. There was one, my left one, that had fluid in it. And this will help your situation. Where the endometriosis, we can use a Prozac injection. So basically it puts you into a low menopause, and when it goes into the low menopause, it will give your body time to reduce the inflammation that's going on inside. If you think it's not even just been the trying for the baby, but everything else we've been through with the operation, I think that's been a massive turning point for me, because
You're talking about the one where they had to try and go into...
Yeah, take my fallopian tubes out. But putting that aside, just going into an operation where usually I've had my mum there and it was just you that time, that's a huge thing for me, because my anxiety of going into an operating theatre and going through that was, I have huge anxiety about it. So when I went to go and find a gynecologist, unfortunately no one would touch me because I have a colostomy bag. So I actually have an ileostomy, which it was about 17 years ago now. I had ulcerative colitis, and within a year I was in and out of hospital, and I ended up having septicemia. So I nearly died from that. 2 weeks later, my colon perforated, and I ended up having a 12.5-hour surgery with my colon being taken out. That was in the September. I had the operation in November, and then we tried again in March this year when we fell pregnant again for the second time, and obviously that not working out. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, isn't it?